Hello and greetings to my Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 friends. In this video, I'm going to show you how to enhance night lighting in the sim. This is something I enjoy doing. I like flying over areas knowing that I made the night lighting look better than what it normally looks like out of the box. In full disclosure, I've never flown over these areas because I'm not a pilot. I build the scenery based on what I think makes the lights look better at night while flying over them. We will begin, and I'll walk you through the process of improving night lighting in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. To begin, I'm going to go into Developers mode. That is Options, General Options, Developers, On, Apply and Save. I'm going to go to the world map and find a location where I want to work. I'm going to work in the area in which I live in Middle Tennessee, and I'm going to work on a college in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Middle Tennessee State University. Now you may notice that I have a personal point of interest in which I added to the sim. If you'd like to learn how to make your own personal points of interest, I have a tutorial on making points of interest. I will pin the tutorial in the comments below. I'm going to start out by selecting my point of interest and set as my departure. You'll see the aircraft's going to be airborne at 633 feet. I want to set my flight conditions to clear skies and about midday. So we're clear skies and we're roughly midday. And then I'm going to fly. Now before I begin flying, I want to go up to my options and I want to pause the simulator so my plane just doesn't continue to fly off. With the simulator paused, I can hit ready to fly. And the plane's just going to sit here, which is what I want it to do. Now I'm going to go up into my developers menu and I'm going to hit my developers camera. And then I'm going to drop down and take a look at the college. This is Middle Tennessee State University, and as you can tell, it's the general AI buildings in which the simulator self-builds. And they look okay, but they can look better. You'll notice that the football stadium is basically a painting on the ground. No matter how I move, this is just a flat object. As you can see, this is a standard scenery mesh. Basically, this is just a photo on the ground. There is a way to make the university look better. It's through the Earth to MSFS tool. Fortunately, here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, there is 3D photogrammetry. The 3D photogrammetry is not in the sim, but we can bring it to the sim. And if you'd like to know how to bring 3D photogrammetry in the sim, I will link a tutorial below in which I walk you through the steps of how to use the Earth to MSFS tool. Let's see how the university scenery changes if we use the Earth to MSFS tool. Here is Middle Tennessee State University after using the Earth to MSFS tool. I'll let you determine which you like best by going back and forth between the artificially generated buildings and the true-to-life 3D Earth photography. if I zoom down here and look at the stadium, that the stadium is real 3D photogrammetry. That looks so much better than that flat image on the Earth. So at this time, I'm going to begin adding lights. Now fortunately, I already have a package ready to go. If you do not know how to build a package, I will point you to a tutorial that I do on how to build packages. So I'm going to go up to my developer menu and I'm going to open Tools, Project Editor. The inspector and the project editor is up. If the inspector doesn't come up, you can hit the View, click on Inspector and bring the inspector up. Now once a project editor is open, I want to go to Project, Open Project, and I want to navigate to my folder in which my scenery folder is located. Mine happens to be located in a folder that I use for all of my scenery called MSFS Scenery. Here is the scenery folder which I'm going to use. So I want to double click on the scenery folder to open it. Go down to the bottom XML file and open it. And now my project is loaded in. I'll click on my project here. And now you notice that the inspector fills up. So what I can do at this point is go ahead and give the project a name. This title and this information will appear in your content manager. I called this MTSU Lighting, and I'll use my company name. And I'll go ahead and put my company image in there. You don't have to, this is all optional. Everything is ready to go. I got MTSU Lighting as it will appear in the content manager, my company name, my company photo. I'm going to build the package. And when the dialog box picked up saying modification detected, you want to hit yes. And the console pops up, meaning the package is starting to build. At this point, you can take the console off. I selected my scene, load in editor. And your editor tools will pop up. We don't need material editor, so I'll exit out of that. And I'll patiently wait while the scenery files load in. While we're waiting on this to come up, you should have your objects window up, your scenery editor up, and your gizmo up. To get your tools to pop up, you can always hit your tools menu, and project editor and scenery editor is up. The gizmo is a tool that I may use in this, I may not, but I do use it quite often when I'm building scenery, and you can get to it by hitting View, Gizmo. You notice Objects is ticked, there you go, and you notice that Gizmo is ticked. And if you didn't notice, while I was talking, all of my scenery popped up. Now let me explain to you how this works. Everything that is in your official folder and your community folder is available to you to use. Anything that's in these folders that's usable will be loaded into your scenery and you can reuse it. For an example, I have bought some of the Arcade Bridger projects, Boston, Pittsburgh, New York, and all of these bridges are loaded in here. So if I run into a location where the bridge doesn't look good, I can reuse a bridge if I can find a bridge that looks close to the bridge I want to use. And I do that quite often. I replace the bridges in downtown Nashville to bridges already available to me through other packages I have bought. And I will also tell you that I'll be using some lights that may not be available to you, but they can be available to you. I use a lot of xenon lights. I'm not sure how they're pronounced, but that's how I pronounce it. And these lights come from a package from Illuminators. You can go to Flight Sim TO and find Illuminator packages. They're cheap. They'll usually run less than 10 euros or less than 10 US dollars. And you can find a city, buy one of their lighting packages, and then those lights become available to you from now on for you to use on your own packages should you want to build your own package. When I build lighting packages, I like to have it dark where I can see what the lights do, but I also want to be able to see enough to add lights. So I will typically set to twilight, just enough light to see what is going on, but also not too much light that the lights will not come on. So it's dark enough here that the lights come on, but light enough that I can see what I'm doing. And that's how I'll work the project. So I will start out and set some additional parking lot lights, and I'll also add some additional street lighting. These are easy to find. You just type in lamp and you'll have all kinds of options. You'll notice street lamp triple, double, single, quadruple. You have all different types. I like to use the top 5 quadruple, so that is what I'm going to use here. Now once you've selected the light, you have some options you can simply add, and I'll show you how that works. You hit the add button and a light pops up. Or you could hit this one-click placing and you can place these street lights relatively fast anywhere you want. That looks a little better. I have added some additional street lights. You may have noticed I was not too precise, and that's because I'm doing a tutorial. If this was a package I was building to keep, I would be a little more careful than I was here to make sure the lights were precisely where I want them. But I was doing this for speed to just kind of walk you through how this works. At this time I'm going to use the xenon lights, the ones that are available through an Illuminators package that you can get at Flight Sim TO. I'm going to use that lighting to bring out some more highlights of the college. Okay, once you type in the xenon, you've got different varieties. You have 10, 15, 12, 6, 3, and 5. I typically use the 10, the 5, and the 3 the most, but it is up to you. The 10 is a really bright bluish light, more like what you might see in a stadium. So I'm going to use the 10 right now to make the ballparks light up better. I'm going to use my one-click placing. We have some practice fields here, so I'm going to add to those. Okay, I believe I hit all the stadiums and all the fields. At times I will use the xenon 5 just to enhance the lighting in parking areas. I also use the 5 for tennis courts, because you know the tennis courts are lit up on a college campus. I'm going to place them in some general areas just to enhance the lighting. I'm going to use a little bit of the 3 color to add some difference to it. The xenon 3 really brings out the highlights in brick buildings. Also, you have colored lights available to you if you happen to purchase one of the illuminators packages. So I'll look around and find some color. I do know that Middle Tennessee State's colors are blue, so I'll look around and find a blue that I can use just to add a little color to it. 2301 Azul is a blue color. I want to make sure I add some blue around the basketball arena. I have all different colors available to me, so if I wanted to get really crazy, I could add some colored lightings to the scenery. So I keep this modest and not go overboard. To show you an example, I'll move over to the downtown area and just use a couple of the colored lights. I could throw a little bit of amber in here if I wanted to. So let's say I want to add just a light blue to the top of this building. Okay, I kind of position it where I want to give the amount of light I want. You can adjust the height off the ground if you wish to. To adjust the height off the ground, you want to open up your properties. So that's View, Properties, and you will see that these lights did come from the Illuminators package. It says Snap to Ground, so I'm going to remove Snap to Ground. Here I can add the height above the ground that I wish to offset the lighting. I move the light up 50 feet or 50 meters. I'm not really sure what the distance is. And then I can move it around. There you go. Gives a little bit of highlight to the top of the building. That looks better. I'm going to raise this light too. Remove snap to ground. It's a little too high. Okay, 25, and if I want to duplicate it, I can do that too. Just by clicking on the duplicate button here. I believe that's enough to give you an example. So I'm going to make it completely dark and see how things look. Now the university is well lit. Now that the university is well lit, I'm going to complete my package. I will do that by first saving my scenery. Now I've yet to save scenery, but I will say that it's a good idea to save scenery as you go along. I have experienced crashes to desktop while I was in the middle of building scenery and I had not saved the scenery and I had to start from scratch. I did take a chance by not saving so far on this scenery, but normally if I'm building a package that I'm going to keep, I will save throughout the process. To save the scenery, I'm going to go to my scenery editor and select Save Scenery. I want to navigate to the scenery folder in which I'm using. Double click. I will go to Package Sources. I will go to Scene. And once I'm at the bottom of the scene, you'll see no more folders. And you can see this is a scenery file. I'm going to just give it a one-word name, MTSU Lights. I'm going to hit save. The scenery is now saved and I'm completed with building lights at this time, so I'm going to build my package. I'm going to my scenery folder, click on it, and once you click on it, it will open the information up in the inspector again. I'm going to build package. And once a package is built, I can exit out of the console by Windows, Console. I can close my tools down. I'm going to move the package into my community folder. This is the folder where I keep my scenery. This is my community folder. I'm going to open up the scenery folder, open up packages, find my package, copy, paste into my community folder. And now I'm going to restart the sim. I am back in the simulator. I have built a lighting package, moved the package to my community folder, and now I'm going to see what the lights look like. And there you go, night lighting. This is with my night lighting package, and here is default out of the box. and back to my night lighting package. Hopefully this helped you learn how to do some simple lighting. You may get as detailed as you want. This was just a quick package that I threw together to show you how to add enhanced night lighting. The detail is up to you. You can go as far as your imagination will take you. And hopefully this was helpful. If you did like it, please like, subscribe, share it with your friends. I will continue to build these tutorials as long as there is an interest. Thank you for watching Patriot 6.